in
It's supposed to
Burbank.
be the world's
guy
largest.
just turns
Yeah,
to
does that
you're
mean
like-
it's the largest infestation? Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking so.
You
I
go
was
up
there
and you're like,
yesterday. It's
excuse me, I need help
perfectly
finding a
normal.
desk. And he's like, a desk.
Nerd On.
What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve. The Halloween time is here. It's upon us.
Spooky.
It is.
So we're talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart. But before we get to that, I'm Corey.
Tom. Ali.
Caitlin.
I'm Josh.
And with our powers combined,
No.
we are Nerd On! Where all levels of nerd are welcome.
All of them.
But Josh, you got some business you want to get to real quick?
Well, I was going to say that this episode is brought to you in part by our people over at
Patreon.
Patreon.
And also Patreon.
And also
Both
Patreon. But I didn't get a chance to, so.
I know I hijacked it for some weird Captain Planet
But
thing.
if you did, you would also recommend all our listeners to join Patreon if they
Yeah.
like what they listen to
Yeah.
on the show.
And
Helps
if I
us out a
did
lot.
get a chance to say it, I would say there's lots of really cool stuff over there, like bonus content, bonus episodes, Discord server, which is a lot of fun,
a holiday card.
a holiday
Holiday
We'll
card.
even get a chance
It's gonna be
to
fun.
influence some of the episodes on our normal feed.
Yes.
Well, you were telling me about this a little bit earlier, that if
Yeah.
you were to tell them where to go to find out
Yeah.
more about it,
Yeah.
they would go to nerdon.tv/Patreon.
Yeah.
Huh.
Too bad
thought
you didn't
that
get
was
that
interesting.
chance.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And someone
Sorry,
would have
buddy.
said, this message has been brought to you part by
Yeah.
Patreon.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll fix
yeah,
it in
yeah.
post.
We'll
but
get it.
this episode today, I'm very excited about.
Why are you excited about this?
I've been talking about this, I think, since the first
Nonstop.
episode or second episode.
In every
maybe?
meeting,
It's one of those.
every conversation.
and
It's
I
the
bring it up all
Mummy
the time.
2.
It's Stephen King's It.
Tom Cruise is the Mummy too.
No, it's John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982.
This is
starring
so
Kurt
not
Russell.
the original,
Yes,
but the remake.
right.
Yes.
The original,
from
which is
2013.
based
No.
on the short story Who's There,
Never.
and it was made into Thing from Another Planet.
Mhm.
And it was more of a Frankenstein-esque type monster movie. Like
Black
it was
and
just a
white
giant.
Guy
Monster.
in a suit.
But this actually stays much closer to the short story material, where it's all about paranoia and something that can shapeshift into your closest friends or family,
Or
and you'd never know.
yourself.
And part of that, I mean, something that was really big, and Josh, this is a spoiler, it didn't make a remake in 2013. That's a
It's a
prequel.
prequel, right? Yeah.
I
But
believe that was
also-
2011.
Whatever
actually.
it's called, wherever that year is.
I wish they would have named it just not just
actually-
the thing,
Yeah.
because it makes Google searches very hard
Oh, yeah,
when
that's
you're trying to
true.
learn
But
behind the scenes stuff.
it also spawned comic books off of that.
Yes, which I've yet to see, sadly.
Ooh.
But I believe they're like just coming out
Yes.
recently.
Wow.
But yes, John Carpenter, one of the grandmasters of horror, who did things like The Fog or
He did that?
Halloween.
Just kidding.
Yes.
Halloween, which is out by now. So
Yeah.
if you guys haven't checked that out, check that out.
No, actually, did he do this one? This newest one?
No.
He's
I
producing
think he's
it.
part of it. Yeah, it's,
But this-
it's Danny McBride's company.
But
I
it's
think.
supposed to be a direct sequel to the original
Original
Halloween.
one,
yes.
So it like retcons all those weird like Halloween 2.0 type of stuff. But
Interesting.
I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. He also did things like Christine, which is one of the first horror films I saw because that's my mom's name.
Nice.
How about me?
What about you?
Big Trouble.
Big
Little
Trouble in Little China. Yes. I actually just saw that a couple years ago for the first time, and it is very good and very racist.
Yes.
Oh.
It's
Oh.
It's like a funny horror. It's macabre.
Yeah.
Macabre.
Yeah,
But
it's
before we
Commedia
get
dell'arte.
too far into it, needless to say, we're talking about The Thing, and it's a movie. If you haven't watched it yet, go slap yourself.
Pause
But
it.
Keep listening to this,
Yeah.
and then go watch it, and then listen to this, and then slap yourself again because you'd be like, "Whoa, why didn't I watch this?"
Or
before?
you don't have to commit violence against
Yeah.
yourself. That's all right, too.
I'm about it. But we also get to rate this. And
Yes.
with rating something, then
Yep.
we get to
Guess
that
that
grump.
Bum, bum,
bum bum
bum,
bum
bum,
bum bum bum.
More hi-hat.
Yeah.
The song gets better every time.
That's Star Wars.
Should we do initial reactions?
No, we guessed the
We
grump
gotta
first.
guess the
Oh,
grump.
that's right.
And
That's
then-
right.
and
Before
then
we
Initial
spoil it.
reactions will
That whole
spoil
song's-
all of
I
that.
bet
sequence
you
happens.
it's me.
Yes.
I bet you it's not.
Yeah.
So, with Guess That Grump, if you're new to the show, if anything we can rate, like a TV show or a movie or a book or a comic book or anything that is finished in a sense, we can't typically do things that are ongoing like TV shows or something like that because it's hard to kind of just like make an objective thing of something that's continually growing. But if we rate it 1 out of 5, and so for example, if Caitlin likes the movie,
Which I usually do.
she rates it like a 4.9 to 5 usually, and then if Josh rates it at like a 4.8 to 4.7 range, he's still the grump, even though it's still a high in high praise. So I typically always guess first because I explain it. But Josh, you pointed at me, so you're guessing first.
I'm guessing first.
You're guessing first.
Cool. It's not Corey.
Nope. It's just not gonna be.
That's fine
Not
by
gonna
me.
be Corey.
Everyone at home, Tom is like C on the Scantron. If you don't know what to pick, you just pick
You
Tom.
pick Tom every time. That's what I do.
I'm gonna pick.
He's all of the
Ollie.
above. Picked Ollie?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is all of the above usually like D or
Yeah.
E?
It's
Yeah.
D or
I
E.
will
for me.
pick. Dun, 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 dun. Caitlin.
Shout out to Trebek.
I will pick. Josh.
Whoa.
So since he already picked, so 1 for Josh, 1 for Caitlin, 1 for Ali, none for Cora and I. I'm going to pick Ali.
So there's 2 for Ollie.
Wow.
All right.
I think I'm the smart pick. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh.
You're the smart pick?
No, I mean, I'm a smart picker.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh.
Brains and noses.
I get it. I get it now. So,
What's your pick?
I'm going to go with Josh, just to even it out a little
Okay.
bit.
2 on Josh, 2 on Ali, 1 on Caitlin.
Yeah.
So
what
Corey and
everybody
I-
at home did not see is that we have a dartboard in here,
And I just
he just
threw
threw a
it
dart
while
and
staring at Josh,
Yeah.
and then still said Josh. I don't even know where it landed.
So now we have that all tallied down. Everyone at home, get your numbers ready or get your votes ready. We have ours. But I guess now we can go into initial reactions.
I guess I should start this one off.
You should.
This was shown to me by my childhood friend, Tasty D Money, Dustin Leandro. Shout out.
Shout
Shout
out.
out.
I watched it at his house when I was
Shout out to his house.
11 or 12, I want to say, in that area,
Mhm.
early teens. And it blew my mind. It was the coolest thing
Your
I had ever
12-year-old
seen.
mind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Imagine a 12-year-old having never seen like practical effects in that sense before.
Yeah.
I was like unreal. I also, this is the movie, the reason I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan is because of this film specifically.
it's his beard,
sense.
right?
It's his,
Mm.
he is,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell is like effortlessly cool.
Yeah.
everything he does.
we'll,
True.
We'll talk about
Agreed.
it later, but I think I would argue he's like almost the perfect hero.
Yeah.
In this film.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say man, but yeah.
And so after that,
Also
I've watched it multiple times a year ever since then. Like it is my
You have a poster of it.
I don't have a poster. I have a painting.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I went to
Wow.
Creature Features. They had an art gallery just for the thing. And
For what thing?
just the thing. And it's where they had artists from all over the world send in their art and stuff like that. And so you could buy prints or you could buy the real piece of art. And there was this beautiful painting of all the characters from the front with like Petri dishes kind of in the background. And the dog is the full background. like-
Nice.
Like,
Mm.
mixed in with the snow. And I could have bought the print for like 30, or I bought the actual painting with the frame, with this big, beautiful wooden frame for like
30,000.
150, 175. So
Wow.
I did it. It's the first piece of art I've ever bought. So like full, like not a poster.
Almost sound
Full
like you were going to say
committal.
your first pita you ever
It was
bought.
the first PETA art. But yeah, I've watched it every year since, and I it's my favorite horror film of all time, and it's the reason I love John Carpenter as well. Opened that door
Nice.
for me.
Nice.
So I liked it, I guess.
I guess.
He guesses.
So I'll go next. I think the first time I had my first time was with Corey.
Wow.
It was,
Wow.
It was a dimly
I'm
lit
not
night.
surprised.
Mhm.
No
In
stars,
my
no moon.
apartment.
Alcohol was there, and yeah,
Domino's
he
Pizza.
took a lot of advantage of me. But yeah, so the movie,
Oh.
first time I watched it was at Corey's place. Yeah, and that was my first time watching it. I think we watched like a remastered version or something on iTunes or something like that. But like, I was just really, really impressed with it, and I was so impressed that I started becoming a fan of it. And I have to bring this up because one of our friends, his name is Adam Hannock. Shout out to him.
Shout out.
Really talented person. Told us, Corey and I, about a screening that they were going to have at the
Oh,
Egyptian.
God.
And Egyptian theaters in Los Angeles,
So what?
not Hollywood.
The backstory to
None-
that is that the
Mhm.
Egyptian theater had found a lost 70mm reel.
This was
Okay.
supposed to be like the last physical copy of this film.
Oh.
And it was like, it's not even like in good condition. Like it's got suntanned on it. So like
Oh.
I went to go watch it. And you know, the guy that got me into it couldn't make it because someone was getting married or something
Yeah.
like that. Or
Oh,
I had to go for a
everyone's
wedding.
having children or some shit. But like, you know, shout out to them.
It's played since that. It's played 3 other times in LA, and every time I have had to go to a wedding.
and
Oh,
every single
wow.
time
Wow.
I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna go because you know, every single time I go, Corey's never gonna be there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, the only reason I wanted to go to this was because I'm like, oh, I'll watch this in theaters, like how people
With
did
Corey.
it back in the day, you know, like have that experience.
Yeah.
And watching it in film was really cool. Actually seeing like the film grain and stuff like that. Watching it remastered obviously helps like our modernize, but I really, really enjoyed this film.
Nice.
dang.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Initial reactions. Funny enough, when we decided to do this episode and we started prepping for it, I thought in my mind that I had never seen it. I thought, I've never seen that. I was wrong. When I
Oh.
started watching it,
Whoa.
You tend to be.
I was like, oh,
This movie.
this
Oh.
movie. Because when I was a kid, we had a little video store in the small town that I grew up in.
Hollywood.
Hollywood
And-
Video.
No, it was not Hollywood Video. It was like Pine Valley Video or something
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
And I went
One of
through.
those mom and pop shops.
Yeah, exactly.
dope.
And I rented a whole bunch. I used to rent this. I used to rent. There's a really terrible horror movie called The Gate. For some reason, I loved that. I loved all the old like Sinbad and Jason the Argonaut,
Sinbad
like,
ain't bad.
like the practical kind of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
And I remembered this was one of them, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So, but because I was a child then, I didn't have much memory of it.
Fucking
Watching-
child.
I know. I watched it again this time, actually a few times, and it really is so good. I have a few friends that just love this movie, and I can
I'm
see
one of
why.
those.
Yeah, you are one of those.
How good is it?
So
It's
good.
So good.
So good.
Tom makes fun of me
So
because I
good.
say that about a lot of things. Like, dude, it was
Um,
so good. How good was it?
How
So good.
Tell me.
My friend Buzz, shout out to Buzz.
Shout out to
Shout out
Buzz.
to
Shout out
Buzz.
to
I had to-
Buzz.
To infinity.
Yeah.
That's dope.
His name is Buzz, yeah.
Beyond.
Last name Danger.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What?
Guy
Buzz
is a-
Danger.
What?
Yeah.
Why does
Anyway,
he not have a comic book named after him?
He wants to be on the show. He wanted to be on this one.
That's fucking
Anyway.
dope.
I'm
We
gonna
can do it
pass the
again.
trust stick to Ali.
Ollie, smallpox
Let me
is
get
free.
That. Oh, it fell.
Smallpox and free.
Oh, you dropped the trust stick.
Oh my god.
Bring
First
it
down.
on.
I just watched that like 2 days ago.
We should do an episode.
Yeah, hands down, easy. So the first time I actually watched it was with you, Corthaniel.
Hey,
And actually,
Who's
it was
Corthaniel?
It was everybody.
that's
in
me,
here, wasn't
Corthaniel
it?
the Brave.
I think everybody in here was in the room.
We had a nerd on viewing party.
We
yeah,
did.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I've
I
seen
was
it
there.
since a couple times as well. And it just keeps growing on me every time I watch it. It's one
See
of those things
little
where
details.
It's
here.
like
see
it's
little details.
assimilating onto you.
Oh.
you start to you start to I really start to appreciate kind of what this movie is currently still, what it can still accomplish, what it was back then, what it accomplished back then,
And what it will be.
and what it will be in the future. No, but like it it just is all the sort of things that it's accomplished, and I kind of did slap myself a little bit for not having seen it earlier.
It's true. He like
did
right in the room.
physically.
It
Because
was
you may or may not have found out, especially in this month, that I am not the biggest horror movie fan.
Same.
Yep.
But as we'll dive into in a little bit, I don't really see this as a horror movie.
And that's okay. You're still welcome here. But do you want the backhand or you want the forehand?
Oh my god.
So
Again
yeah,
with the violence.
it's an awesome psychological thriller, is what this is.
Yeah.
with
Hmm.
some horror elements.
Horror for the East Coast.
Horror.
Okay, Glenn.
Her. Um,
Yes. This is where we speak.
I was
I
assimilated.
I
Yeah.
thought the
Um,
time like froze for a
It
second.
did. It did.
Yeah.
I
I was
don't.
like, what's in this tea I'm drinking?
I was just really concerned about the dog. Like my initial reaction is
plural
the
Or the one?
dog,
Oh,
the
okay.
one that I was most invested in,
that you shouldn't have been.
that I shouldn't have been, but very much was. I like all of the concepts in this movie.
Okay.
I like the concept.
I like the concepts.
It doesn't have as much of a ring to it.
I don't really like blood and gore in movies, so I'm not a fan of horror movies. I do still see this as a horror movie, just from the way that things were shot and whatnot. So there's, in a way, I'm kind of like, oh, it was spooky.
It was spooky.
It was spooky.
It is. It is.
Oh,
It is spooky.
Yep.
I got scared from Shaun of the Dead, guys. Like,
Really?
Wow.
yes, that movie
Alright.
scared me like pretty bad.
Okay.
Goosebumps. Her
Yeah.
baby steps are goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, yeah.
And they give her scary stories you tell in the dark.
I like I said, I like the concepts in the movie. I'm not a huge fan of the level of gore. Am I impressed by the practical effects? Yes.
I mean, 36 years old now, and it's still like probably the best practical effects I've ever seen in a film. And I didn't learn until this time around. It was done by a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Wow.
May I add a little bit to the gore factor of it?
Yes.
Like, the level of gore is, I think, not particular to your tastes, but like I call it gore porn.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Jesus.
That's
I'm 100% with you where it's like, I'm not a fan of gore. Like, it's like, I don't want to see 27,000 different ways the body can get twisted up and mushed up.
It's not
Yeah.
quite Tarantino.
Well,
House of a Thousand Corpses.
I'm talking about Saw.
Oh, yeah.
And like hostile bullshit. I'm like, can you stop? Like, it's too much for
I've
me.
actually seen a lot of that. It's like, despite me being very easily scared, I had a boyfriend in high school who that
Shout out
was
to him?
all he No, we don't shout out him. But he watched like nothing but horror movies, so I watched a ton of them, and I've seen a lot of it. And this is very well done in comparison to a lot of the horror movies I've seen.
Yeah.
And actually has like a plot without
Yeah.
naked women everywhere that are being,
Well,
killed
yes.
violently.
Right.
So that was a plus.
Yeah. So those are initial reactions. I can jump into the synopsis real quick.
got
Little backstory on the
5
film,
minutes.
or should we go to the backstory afterwards?
Do the backstory after.
Yeah.
Okay. So the synopsis of the film is it takes place in Antarctica, where the most population throughout the year now is about 1,000, is the highest it gets there, and that's during the longer summer days. So this is
and that's
right.
pretty much all scientists, right? Usually.
Yeah, it's all scientists.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be taking place the day before the first day of winter. So it starts off, you see this dog running across the tundra with a helicopter chasing it. It's got Swedish language on the side. The dog finds the American camp. Everyone kind of runs outside to see what's happening because the Swedish people are shooting at the dog.
Poor baby.
The dog jumps up on one of the American scientists and licks his face, and that scientist gets shot by the Swedes who are like yelling or whatever. One of the Swedes goes to throw a grenade, blows himself up. Whoopsies. And the other one decides to keep shooting. Gary, the guy who's in charge there, busts through a window, shoots him right through the eye with his pistol.
General Patton style.
Real good shot. So that happens. They're gonna go check out the Swedish camp. Like, why were they going crazy? It's way too early in the season to get like stir crazy. There's no way. So you meet McCready, who in his first scene is playing chess on the computer and thinks he's winning. The computer wins. He jumps his whiskey down the computer and calls it a cheating bitch. So he's a cool guy. So he's the chopper pilot. So they decide to go investigate the Swedish camp. Him and Doc. So they go there and they find some twisted remains that were on fire. The camp is destroyed. The Swedish camp is burnt down to the ground. They go inside. They find like an axe in the wall, some guy who had cut his wrist, that kind of thing. And eventually they find this huge chunk of ice that something's been cut out of. They go back to camp, discuss a little more. They go on another expedition with Doc and what's his name? The redheaded guy. I'll remember in a little bit. And they find basically a spaceship. And judging by the ice, it's probably been there for 1,000 years. So they get back to camp. Clark goes to put that dog away that's been wandering around all day, and you see it go into a room with a shadow. Cut. They put it in there. Clark puts it away with the other dogs, and it starts to freak out. And it starts shifting and changing and shaking, and these tentacles come out of it and everything like that.
Spewing green acid.
And someone hears it and runs back and tells everybody. McCready tells Childs to get the flamethrower, which is one of my favorite lines. McCready wants you to get the flamethrower. He wants the what? Just do it. So they open it up and it's starting to pull all the other dogs in and kind of like assimilate. It turns into this big blob, I would say. Like there's no
biomorphic, asymmetrical looking.
Which was
monster.
very, John Carpenter said it was very on purpose. I don't want it to look like anything the same twice. I don't want to look like the same thing twice.
Or
ever.
anything recognizable.
I never want your brain to get used to it. So they go to light it on fire. Part of it gets away through the ceiling. And as everything unfolds, everyone gets a little freaked out. They cut it open. It's got regular organs, right? It's got like lungs, liver, everything. And then you find out, oh my God, I lost my place.
The doc is starting to look at the cells.
Yeah, right. So they realize that it's taking people over and it's assimilating because it was like, look, it was trying to be one of the dogs, but it's got shit from I ain't never seen before. The doctor goes a little crazy. Not doc.
I said the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor does find out that it says if it gets away, it's something like 3 years until the entire planet is infected by it.
Yeah, they start freaking out because who's the guy who likes the dog?
Clark.
Clark, he's like close with that dog beforehand, and then it gets to the point, it's like, how long were you with the dog?
Yeah.
And so this air of like, who's gonna turn on us next?
Yeah,
and, that's
and
kind of
so
like this,
you find out that Windows has been trying to make contact with everyone. He's their radio guy, and they haven't been able to reach anyone for weeks. So they keep trying. Gary says, keep trying, the guy who's in charge. And then once Blair finds out that it could be anybody, he starts to lose his fucking mind. And he attacks Windows, and he makes sure that the radio can't be used so that it can't get out, and they can try to self-contain it. And they lock Diabetes in a in a hut outside. And then they soon find
not in McCready's shack, in someone else's shack.
Yeah,
in
right.
the tool shed.
So Blair's out there, and they're packing some stuff away. They got this body in one of the closets, and they're gonna close it in there and just wait for help to come. So Windows leaves. What's his name?
Redhead.
The redheaded guy. I want to remember. Starts with the B.
I don't know. You can look it up. But then at this point, like when Clark, when the guy goes stir crazy, McCready kind of initiates that he's going to become the leader, and he gets the one firearm they can have because like they're trying to do tests and try to figure out who is the thing or what's going to happen. They try to go to this blood bank that they have of everyone's blood and trying to match it with their current blood and see if that would happen.
Yeah,
that gets sabotaged. Corey, take it up.
So then Fuchs Blair is locked away, and Fuchs is put in charge of trying to figure out what they can do. He says, we should prepare our own food, eat out of cans, nothing else. And then you find out that Bannings, the redheaded guy, has been Windows sees him being absorbed into the corpse of the thing. And so he gets everybody, Windows gets everybody, and they follow him outside, and he hasn't finished changing yet.
Everything's but his hands.
His hands. He looks exactly like it, but he shows his hands, and they're these long fingered, like almost.
And that scream.
Oh yeah, that scream. So they light him on fire with kerosene.
Kerosene,
thank you. And they bury him in the snow, essentially.
Yeah.
So then they go back inside, and they're like, holy shit, it could be any one of us. And this is where shit starts really getting like intense, because he's like, you were with the dogs all day. Where were you? Like you went off for a long time. And so everyone starts going real crazy at this point. And Norris isn't feeling great. Norris is his name, the other redheaded guy.
Yeah.
So people start getting at each other's throats eventually, and someone finds McCready's shirt ripped up, and they think that he may be the thing. So Knowles, who went out with him to like go see what's going on, cuts him loose outside.
And this is at night in the Antarctic winter. So
yeah.
It's pitch black. You can't get back without a line.
And I forgot to mention they locked away Blair because he also sabotaged the helicopter and the tractor as well as the radio.
So there's no escape.
No escape. So eventually they hear a break in another room, and it's McCready, and he's like almost frozen to death. And they try to wrestle him down, and Norris has a heart attack.
Oh.
So he kind of falls over, passes out. McCready's got a stick of dynamite and a flare, just telling everyone to get back, and he wants a flamethrower. Next scene, they're in the doctor's office. Norris is on the bench, and Doc is trying to revive him.
Resuscitate him with the
as he goes to go in for the pads, his stomach opens up and chomps his arms. And so
clean
off. So they try to burn it down. His head escapes and tries to walk away.
His body's like ripping apart.
It almost gets away, and Palmer turns around and goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" So they light that up as well, and then McCready comes up with a test. So he has windows. McCready has windows. Tie everyone up. He's still got the dynamite at this point. Tie everyone up on the couch, and he takes a blood sample from everyone. And he says,
They don't clean off that knife, by the way.
no, it's gross. So he says, I think humans, it's just tissue, but if it's one of those things, every cell is a living thing that tries to survive.
That's why pieces fall off and heads can move up by themselves.
So, so he does Windows first, and then Windows gets a flame torch, and then he does his own, and he's also human. And then
But
he
the
goes,
editing then is just priceless.
well, it's after that. It's after that.
Yeah.
So then he goes to do Palmer, who's the like druggy guy, and his blood jumps out when he hits it with the hot metal.
It looks like a heart
jumps
explodes out.
Palmer goes crazy. He jumps up on the ceiling. Windows' torch isn't, Kurt Russell's torch isn't working.
And
His
then
flamethrower. Windows freezes because he's terrified. Jumps back in front of him. His head splits open like a mouth and kills
Eats
Windows.
Oh.
So
baby.
he runs outside. They burn it, and they burn Windows in the corner. And now it's just Childs,
Fuck
Knowles,
you too.
Gary. That's the end. Shh. That's the very last line.
That is.
It's just Childs, Gary, Knowles, and McCready left.
Yeah.
So he does Knowles next, and that's where that editing comes in. His blood is fine, and it's just a quick cut, and Knowles has a flamethrower on.
Cut.
He's off the couch. So now it's just Childs and Gary. So he does Childs next. And as soon as Childs is his turn to be human, he goes, "Cut me loose, god damn it!" And it cuts in the middle of his sentence, and he's got a flame torch on. They do Gary's, and this is probably my favorite line in the movie. Gary is human, and he very calmly just says, "I know you boys have been through a lot today, but if you could find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch." So they let him off, and they go to visit Blair, and they said that, you know what? It can't survive here. We're going to burn it down. We're going to keep it hot. So they decide that they're going to go around and basically burn the place down. You see Childs kind of run out to nowhere, but Knowles and Gary, they're all throwing Molotov cocktails and burning everything because something cut the generator. They find out Blair has been building a spaceship
Underneath
and that
the
he is
shack.
definitely the thing now.
Yep.
So they go down to the generator room to light some dynamite that they're going to blow up the entire thing for. And Gary, Blair, go ahead and just slips his fingers right in his face and go ahead and assimilate him. Knowles goes off, and we
That's the
assume just
last
gets
of the scene.
taken because he goes off by himself. Now it's just McCready. All of a sudden, the floorboards start splitting up. This giant monster is
Like
coming
Tremors.
for him. Yeah. So he takes a stick of dynamite that he lights, and the thing gets about 10 feet tall and
It's a
sucks down.
giant
It.
monster.
What is that thing called that they have for TNT?
The ignition.
The ignition that they push down. It's
Yeah.
like a very
Detonator
cartoony
box.
detonator
Yeah.
box.
That one.
It takes it, so he can't blow up all the dynamite. So he takes one stick and he lights it. You see the dog come out of the chest. You can see some of Blair. You can see some like tentacles, some other thing from other planets. And he takes the dynamite, does this like acrobatic jump backwards out of the way, and has probably one of the best like
F-bombs.
F-bombs I've ever heard. It makes some terrible noise, and he just looks at it and goes, "Yeah, well, fuck you too." And he throws it and blows up. Now, fades out, fades back. McCready's got a bottle in his hand and a blanket around him.
The whole outpost is on
whole
fire.
camp is blown up.
Burning.
And he's sitting there by himself, and who walks up but Childs?
With frosted mustache.
"Where have you been?" "I went looking. I thought I saw something in the distance. I went out there." So they have a seat. It's very tense. And McCready says, "What do we do?" Childs says, "What do we do now? How can we trust each other?" And McCready says, "Look, if we got any tricks, now's the time to do it. I don't think there's anything we could do about it." So he hands him the bottle. Childs takes a sip. McCready starts to laugh. And then
Child starts to laugh.
boom, boom,
And then fade to black.
boom, 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 boom.
Just
Credits.
ends. Credits.
That was a terrible summary, but
It was pretty play by
This
play.
is pretty
Yeah.
It was
succinct.
good.
Pretty play by play. The movie came out in June 25th of 1982, directed by John Carpenter, written by John W. Campbell, screenplay by Bill Lancaster.
I
thought it
was
gonna be another
expecting another John.
John. I know,
Yeah.
right? It's part of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah.
Being this was the middle, and it's about the destruction of the individual being.
I thought this was the first one.
Whatever.
I think this is the first one.
Yeah, probably. And then there's-
Whatever though.
Because the
there's-
only other two he did was Halloween in the Fog.
Well,
Mm.
no, okay, yeah, but part of the Apocalypse trilogy, there's
Yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Yep.
Where it's the absence of God,
Mhm.
God,
Mhm.
and pretty much like evil's coming, and then there's Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
And so
He calls these movies movies with inevitable evils.
yes.
So nothing
Wow.
anyone can do about it,
Great.
kind of thing.
Love that.
But
Yeah.
you want to talk about? I forget. You want to talk about something else a little bit about?
Well, just I want to give a shout out to Rob Bottin. I think that's or Bottin, how you say his name.
Bottin?
He's the guy who did all the practical effects and makeup in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like the story behind this kid coming out of nowhere is amazing. So he knew John Carpenter's DP who did Halloween and The Fog, and was a huge fan of Halloween.
and this is still early in Carpenter's career. These are like his first films.
Yeah, so all that had come out at this point is Halloween.
Low budget.
And his DP, who knew Rob at the time was 19, was like, "Yeah, do you want to meet John Carpenter?" And he was like, "Oh my God, of course yes. He's the reason I do he's the reason I love movies and do makeup." So he brings him on set of The Fog as he's filming it, and he meets John, and he's like, if you need makeup or any monster or anything like that, like that's what I do. And he goes, "Rob, was it?" And Rob's like, at this point, I thought he was going to say, "Get the hell off my set." But he goes, "Rob, was it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you be here at 7 a.m. tomorrow?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Here's what I need. This is what I want you to look like, blah, blah, blah." So he did one of the monsters in The Fog.
Ooh.
And during The Fog, John Carpenter was talking to him about the thing. And he was like, "I want you to be on this, blah, blah, blah." And he was like losing his mind, this 19-year-old
Yeah.
kid, like his hero telling you, "I want to be on this movie." So a couple years goes by and he just gets this call from John, and he was like, "We're doing the thing." And he's 22 at this point. And this guy worked his ass off. He lived,
To insanity.
yeah, well, he had to be checked into a hospital for exhaustion. John Carpenter forced him to check into a hospital for exhaustion. He lived on set for a year and a half
Oh wow.
and slept in his shop and worked like 10-hour days to make this happen. There's stories about specific scenes I'll get into later about like 9-hour setups for the stomach scene
Ugh.
and stuff like that, and how he did things, and he pioneered a lot of the way people do things now on movies. So I just thought it was such a cool thing that someone so young was just so hungry to do it, and now he is considered to have made one of, if not the best use of practical effects in a film ever.
This film, I would definitely say, falls into the cult classic category.
Yeah, well, it was a flop when it first came
Yeah.
out.
But it has gotten like huge popularity after its time. Marking upon. I think there was like there's a video game, there's a board game we recently played on a stream.
Yeah,
Outpost 31.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm looking at the box. It says The Thing, and
Yeah.
then says the Outpost 31. I'm like, just call it The Thing.
Infection.
It was
at
it didn't
Outpost
get
31.
real big until about 10 years after its release, so like
Yeah.
92-ish.
Which has, it's inspired a lot of filmmakers afterwards to try to utilize practical effects in X, Y, and Z. And I think it's probably the bigger reasons why like anything that's Thing related that came afterwards that didn't use it kind of fell into its shadow.
Yeah.
It was never able to stand out on its own 2 feet, 2 legs. And it's been something that's kind of really, I think, come up a lot, when it comes to monster movies. Like I call this like it would be like a monster movie, and I think it's really cool. And in a side tangent for all those Tarantino fans, Quentin Tarantino utilized unused parts of the soundtrack or the score from Ennio Morricone's work and utilized that in Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And Tarantino, when he accepted the award for Ennio Morricone for the best score, the Academy Award, he said he didn't call him like a composer, he just calls him a great musician, I think.
Yeah. It's also one of the few films that John Carpenter didn't do his own music for.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he did his own for all those
Halloween,
other
yeah.
ones. I actually got to see him a year ago, 2 years ago for Halloween. A year ago for Halloween with Adam Hannock as well. Got to see John Carpenter live. He's the coolest fucking dude in the world.
Wow.
Like when I'm his age, however, he's like in his late 70s.
Mhm.
He came out in sunglasses. He's got like a little ponytail, mustache, all white hair, and just all black. And he came out, and the first thing he said, he goes, "I'm John Carpenter, and I'm gonna play you some songs from my movies.
Oh
Here's
my
my son, and here we go." Like that was it. His son was playing piano with him, and like it was a
Wow.
blast. Like
That's
that
awesome.
show was so much fun. He played music, and scenes from all the movies would play behind him, and stuff.
That's cool.
It was awesome.
But with that, I think we could probably get into favorite parts, and we'll trickle in and sprinkle in any like memorable moments that we can think of as well.
Sure.
Do you want to start us off, Tom?
Yeah. Favorite parts. I think, well, to me, this film, I call it a monster movie, but the heart of this film is a whodunit clue mystery.
Paranoia.
Excuse me?
It's paranoia.
Yeah. And I like I love good mysteries. I love good like when they give me enough hints of figuring out who it is. But I think in terms of intensity as well as like a good hit of comedy too. It's not like it cuts it too bad. It's just like how it came out to be is the editing of the blowtorch test.
Yeah.
Where they get the blood and put in the petri dish and everything like that. It's really good. And then plus any scene, I have a huge bias with Goliath. What's his name?
Goliath.
Keith David.
Childs.
Oh.
Because I don't know, I think he's badass. He voices Spawn.
Yep.
And
And like 1,000 other things.
other characters too, and he just has an epic voice with it. Like that sequence too, and the cut with him going into there.
It's also the cat in Coraline.
Oh,
Yeah, fun fact.
Oh.
He's also the Arbiter in Halo.
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. That's why I like the Arbiter.
So he's done a lot.
He's done okay. He's had an okay career.
If you're hearing this right now, we want you on the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, that's my favorite part. It's probably that, and then I think
The blowtorch scenes.
the blowtorch,
Cut me loose, goddammit.
yeah. Or any parts with McCready too. But
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go on.
Ali?
Prince of Boo Boo.
I think
A boo boo.
one of my favorite parts is God, I just had it. What was it?
I took yours.
You might have taken it. Skip me for now. Hold on.
Okay,
Let me think about
Kaylin?
it.
This when the dogs died, right?
Oh. I was like so viscerally offended. It like shook all the air out of my lungs. I liked the part where McCready comes back in from the cold and is pissed as hell.
Yeah.
He's just like,
moving his
Got like
hands.
a stick of dynamite and
he's like all shaken and a little like in his jacket and being like, motherfuckers might all be against me right now,
Yeah.
but it's fine because I'm awake and I haven't slept in days, but it's fine.
When he's like, from now on, nobody leaves my sight.
Yeah.
He goes, you got to sleep it sometimes. Real light sleeper, Childs.
Because even at that point, I was questioning if it was McCready or not, but just the sincerity of it was also making me be like, nah, he probably is human, but what if he's not?
That's a huge Hitchcock move. If they would have killed him off. But Ali, you got yours back.
Yeah. The sort of like the high intensity of the Petri dish scene was
Yeah.
definitely
Ooh.
up there. But I think my favorite part was the stomach opening up.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
like, biting the arms off because I was not expecting that to happen because
Really?
I was thrown off because he had like a heart attack or whatever, and I was like, oh, he's just like
He just died.
Yeah.
he's like dying or whatever it's like chaos amidst chaos or whatever.
So like the theory behind that, or that John Carpenter's talked about, is that it replicated him to a point where it even got his weak heart,
yeah.
and so
Jesus.
it in
Which
in
was
fact
cool,
did
and
die.
then just like that happening, and then them trying to defeat it, and the head peeling off, and like
Growing eyeballs and then
spider
growing
legs
legs.
and-
I have fun facts about that stomach scene.
You
as
say
well.
fun, but do
No,
you
it is.
mean
No, it is
fun?
fun.
It is
I wanna
fun.
hear 'em.
So
It is cool.
how they shot it. So it was a hydraulic system. So
For the mouth of the
the way
stomach.
they shot it was from above, and it opened, and the actor would throw his arms down, and they cut. And then they would cut to another scene of just the close up of the stomach and the arms. And the arms are made from jello on the inside, with the veins being filled with they're just food, basically. Like,
Spaghetti, probably.
not
that's dyed
spaghetti.
red.
Just like breakable food, like
Oh,
baggies, like that they used to do
like
sausages,
casing.
and
Yeah,
filled it
yeah.
with blood. And the outside, they're perfect replicas of his arms, so he had to do that down to the hair follicles.
Wow.
And the bone was made of marshmallow. So it
delicious.
shuts, and then he pulls his arm off, and then it cuts to him with his arms off, waving around. And what they did is they had an actor who was an amputee who got his arms lost in a industrial accident, and they had a mask that they put over him, and
Mission
it was so
Impossible
real
style.
that PAs and stuff were actually referring to him as the actor from behind and stuff like that. And so I just thought that was really interesting. And then that's how they did that scene. It was an actual guy with no arms that they put a mask on.
Did they use like blood or not
No.
blood?
There's no real blood used. It was all
Just curious.
Yeah.
So wait, they
Curious
didn't
entirely.
CGI the
Sad.
mustache off?
No. And the fun fact about the guy on his chest, they had to do a replica of his chest, and he's sitting under the table with his head out.
Oh yeah.
And they took a picture and they did it down to the exact hair pattern of his chest. So much so that the guy who played Doc and Norris were friends for like 20 years. And he thought it was really him on the table. And ran up and was like giving him a hard time. He was like, put your goddamn clothes on. And then when he got closer, he was like, oh shit, it's fake.
Oh,
Sorry, I thought that was fun.
So wait,
That's awesome.
that is fun.
Yeah.
still no CGI mustache.
No CGI mustache.
Well,
no.
I think that's why like I appreciate that scene so much, is because there's so much going on in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of goes back to like I think we've mentioned this before, like in Jurassic Park and stuff, where you have your limitations at the time, but that just made the filmmakers become that much more creative with the tools that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's done in one take. They had one shot,
Which-
one or two
Because they
shots.
only had that.
Yeah.
Or else the entire prosthetic would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did I ever talk to you guys about the horror short that I worked on?
No.
What?
Horror?
We should do a bonus episode on that on Patreon.
Yeah, I was part of a I'll just give a little sneaky peek. But yeah, I
think
worked
that's what
on
he's hinting
something
at.
called Heliconius erato, and it was
It's a
about this type of butterfly, and it was basically like these murderous women that capture a guy and kill him. And
Wow.
we
Okay.
had shout out to Joe Castro for the amazing special effects that he did. He did a full cast of this guy's head, and we ripped his jaw open, and
Wow.
It's
Like,
fun stuff.
and
It's
it was
really
intense.
impressive stuff.
I think at the same time, I remember watching an interview with like Carpenter was really influenced a lot by Romero
I don't recall.
because
Probably.
Romero did a lot of that kind of stuff too, where it's like chopping people's heads off with shovels and how to switch out actors for that or use chocolate instead
Yeah.
for body parts.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things where it's like no CGI here, just fucking
Well, it's
smart,
like-
crafty shooting.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
Yeah.
interesting is like they like early CGI I consider stop motion.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like they
Like,
film like a stop motion scene for this, but it was like, no.
Like
Yep, no.
James Cameron, Terminator 1.
Oh, because
Yeah.
Carpenter didn't like how it moved.
Yeah.
He was like, I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want it.
Oh,
I would call
yeah.
that
I
early
brought that up
CGI.
for a reason. I brought that up because like watching this made me think of how nerve-wracking it would be to shoot those scenes, because you really like I was there for those tense moments where it's like you have one shot
Yeah.
to do this,
Or else
because
it's
we
gonna be another
don't
week.
have time, we don't have budget, we cannot do this again.
Rob has a story about that where when his face explodes and there's like tentacles coming out. The first time he did it, he loaded it too much and it like shot out like the Bellagio, and it was way too much
Shout out to
stuff.
Vegas.
And he's like, all of a sudden I heard John go, cut. And he turned to me and he went, the hell happened, Rob? And he was like, well, let's do another one. He was like, cool, sure, John. It takes 9 hours to set up. So, and he was like, are you kidding me? He's like, we have to get it today because they were such a light budget and short like
Yep.
Time
time.
frame.
Yep.
So they did it. He set it up 9 hours, and the second take is the one you see. So,
Ugh.
Josh, favorite parts?
Well,
Well.
I love the couch tied to a couch line
The
only
blood
because
test. Yeah.
it is just because of
people's
the way
favorite.
that he straight, and then just fucking loses his shit.
Yeah.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot lately. I love when Blair's losing his shit in like the control room.
And
And then
Which is pretty
it gets
funny.
to a point where he just throws his gun at everybody.
He shoots it until it's out.
Yeah.
It ain't Fuchs.
I do. I know that there's a lot of question
Diabetes.
about the end scene, but it's like there is. I love watching the end scene.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have a
between
discussion
McCready
about
and,
that.
And Childs. It's just it's simple, but I love it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it leaves it open.
Yeah.
Enough.
Ooh. Also the isn't it Swiss? The Swiss dudes?
Yeah.
They're when they go check out their
Swedish.
Yeah,
Swedish. That's right.
When the
He keeps calling them
Swedes-
Swiss.
But no, he kept calling them the Norwegians.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's like, there's Swedes. Or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, well,
Just say the wrong thing.
when they
It's
go
great.
to that base camp,
Yeah.
that was also a really neat thing because you like kind of see there's deja vu moments later on.
Deja
yeah.
vu.
Deja vu.
Foreshadowing.
So I was gonna say,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you would say the first like outpost is it is foreshadow that one. Yeah.
Yes.
like the
yes.
axe in the door,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, where you're like,
I bet it's gonna come up
fire
later.
everywhere.
Corey, your favorite?
Oh, man. Well, the introduction to McCready is pretty amazing because
Yeah.
within those like 10, 15 seconds, you understand that character at a fundamental level. He's
Mhm.
smart. He's kind of a loner. He's got his own shack, right?
Mhm.
He's also likes being in charge of the sense of like, "You cheating bitch," like that. You know everything you need to know about him. He's cool as fuck. I thought that was a great introduction to a character. Of course, I love like he's the couch. I mean, the blood test scene is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect, well constructed scene.
Mhm.
The timing, the editing, everything. I really love. I love the moment when the guy blows himself up with a grenade. in the beginning.
Oh, when he's like, oh,
And you're like, oh,
fuck.
that's happened. Oh,
And the look he has on his face, and I think he probably cusses in Swedish, but oh fuck, and he's just like digging through the snow trying to find it. I mean, any time you get to see the practical effects, the moment where there's a little moment in the beginning where Palmer says, "Shit, I'll fly you over there," and the guy immediately goes, "I don't want to fly with you," and he goes, "Thanks for thinking about it, though." That line always gets me. But
a
yeah,
good one.
Keith David's amazing. Kurt Russell. I mean, the whole cast is great.
I do want to do a quick shot. I think something of my favorite part is actually just watching like the overall camera work on the film. Like
It's a lot of one shots.
it's a lot of one shots, but it takes a lot of time, and it's something that I think I appreciate more with the genre that we're talking about, since it's the Halloweeny month. It's particularly that jump scares aren't the end of a scene; they're the beginning of a sequence. Whereas a lot of like
There's not a whole lot of them
yeah.
either.
well, a lot of modern films, they rely like, here's this thing that you saw in the trailer, and then jump scare, and then it's just like, and then it cuts to the next thing. It's like, well, it's just kind of like, it's almost just like a tease. It's kind of like a very cheap like release of like tension that you're building up versus like, oh fuck, here it goes, like happening.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
you're saying every time the jump scare happens, it actually starts something.
Yeah, like so one example would be like Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, when he jumps out, he's chasing you.
Yeah.
He just jump out and like, oh well, that's it. That's all we're gonna see of him. Because that's what now newer horror film directors do. They work up to that moment, fake you out, and then do a scare, and then it ends.
Yep.
Then nothing's scary after that.
Yeah.
But this is like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? It's like shit hits the fan. I mean, the practicals I think is great, but to me, like in terms of like what made the practicals great for me, is kind of like that huge moment of like seeing the T-Rex.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the big monster at the very end, because it's kind of like, I want to see what this thing real form is, and obviously we never see its real form,
Right.
Because it may not have one. But just getting that release of like, oh, this is the magnum opus,
Big Daddy.
of
Yeah.
what this is.
Another one of my favorite parts too, and it still scares me, even though it's one of my favorite movies. It like still gives me the creeps. Is Bennings turning with his hands and that
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Oh, I
scream
love
was
that.
very
yeah, no, it's my favorite
unsettling.
part.
I
Like it's
love
still
that.
it's still
I loved seeing him get assimilated like in the corner of the room.
yeah.
Oh, with all the like little
Where
Twizzlers
Windows
Yeah.
like
wrapping around
drops
his
the
body.
keys and everything, and he's
Yeah.
like,
The
"What the
spaghetti
fuck?"
monster.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. When
Um,
it's from under the sheet and it like wraps around him and it's like starting to pull him in.
Ugh.
But that's the sound they used for that is phenomenal.
I
And the
tried
way-
to find I couldn't find. I scoured the internet to try to find like anybody breaking down that sound.
Yeah.
And nobody. It was all articles about the newer version. I was like,
Yep.
no.
Yeah. But it's a perfect moment with the reveal of his hands and then that
Yeah.
sound coming afterwards. And that actor just had this like blank look on
Deadpan,
his.
like,
Oh
yeah.
man.
It was probably just Steven Spielberg's T-Rex reversed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But does that bring us
One
to
thing-
Oh, I had another.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna
both of you guys go?
I was gonna say that one thing I really appreciated were the character interactions, like from the beginning, even before the thing happens. You know, like they make the comment about him finally getting to use his gun or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and like
There was
not
chemistry through the
there-
whole.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
wait, so they
cast.
didn't have to do an origin film for each character? in order to do- wow.
Well, I think
I
what
would
it,
watch
what it
it,
is,
though.
it's
I would watch
it's setting up
the
the
origin film.
like the dynamic between the characters before you see it like amplify later
Uh-huh.
on.
Yeah.
You know,
They
and
did it very
And they're all
there's a couple
very
shots.
unique characters as well.
Right.
It's good writing.
Another really good scene is Bennings, I think.
Mhm.
Going up to not Childs's.
Who?
It depends who you're
Which
about to
scene?
talk
Yeah.
about.
No.
The
Just talk about
chef.
it.
The chef.
Knowles.
Knowles.
He
Yeah.
says,
Oh, the
"Can you turn
radio?
that crap
It's like,
down.
can
I'm trying to get
can
some sleep."
Right. And he like pretends to,
To turn it down
turn
and
it
like
down, but it
takes
doesn't.
him out.
but then like immediately after that is like it like pans out to like
The dog.
the hallway 1st,
Mhm.
and it's like kind of quieter, and then it goes to like the rec room that's completely empty, and it's like one of those things where you realize it's like they're completely alone here,
Yeah.
so they're like each other's comfort and possible like worst enemy,
Yeah.
and that's where like you see that
Cabin
Well,
fever
it's
shit.
like-
you see that
like-
amp up during the
The
second
fear,
third
I love that the fear that this plays on is something that a lot of movies for me don't. And like you find comfort in numbers. Like humans are pack animals in a sense.
Yeah.
We find comfort in numbers, but it's attacking the one thing we find comfort in.
Right.
Is like, well, actually you might be safer alone.
Yeah. Well, it's cool that you say that about fear. Is like, I was watching this video that it was breaking down the fear aspects of the movie,
Oh yeah,
and it's kind of interesting that it
plays on a lot of fears.
it plays on a lot of fears, spiders, slithery like snake kind of things,
Not being
the
able to find the
darkness,
pattern.
paranoia is a big one.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah. But the other favorite part that I thought about is when they go check on Blair, and he's just out there in the hut, and
In
he's
the
just like,
foreground?
and he's just kind of like, I'm much better now.
Yeah,
I'd like
and
to-
I'd
there's,
like
like
to
an-
come back
and
in,
there's
and
a
you're like,
noose-
sure,
a
sure,
noose right next to
sure,
it.
you're much better.
Yeah.
which there's a lot of symbolism with that. You look at him through a small box. There's a noose between him and it's
It reminds me of
There's
that
good camera
scene
work there,
in The Sixth Sense where the girl's under the thing,
Oh.
and she's like, I'm much better now,
Oh
and she
God.
throws up, and I was like,
That scared the shit out of me when I first saw that. By the way.
that scared everyone as a
Yeah.
kid when we all saw that.
that movie freaked me out. Anyway,
But yeah, my theory behind that though is that he was trying
And then-
to kill himself because he knew he'd been infected, and it took him over before.
It
he
took him
finished.
over before.
makes sense.
Aw,
which
poor Betty.
I'm gonna stop you, Ali.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because I'm gonna say, which also brings to a good point of like, this film has a lot of theories. And I
Yeah.
know some theories are stronger built than other ones. Corey,
Yes.
talking about you.
Me?
So before you shut all the other theories down, I'm just saying
I'm not gonna shut anything down.
you have when we talked about it in casualness.
Oh
But
yeah, because you asked me questions.
no, I didn't. I
I'm
just
gonna
said that there
answer-
are other theories, and you're like, well, that one doesn't make any sense. I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm gonna debate it. Yeah,
Well,
that's
I'm
what we
just
do.
saying. So, but my
I'm gonna
only
find
thing,
holes in it for you.
my thing is that this film has sparked a lot of conversation. It's, like it was the Inception before Inception.
Yeah.
Like where it's like, what happened? What's going on? How can you tell what really happened here? It has those moments, but never really like plot hole feels.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
those
Yeah.
are there are differences between discussions and plot hole conversations.
You have to
Yeah.
watch it. I don't
Walch
know.
it.
Shit.
Walch it.
Welch's grape juice
Yeah.
multiple times before you watch it.
You have to watch it many
Hashtag not
times
sponsored.
so you can kind of like, so you can explore every theory kind of in a way where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, at the end, it's like, okay, is it McCready? One more time. Okay, it's Childs.
One more
More time.
It's
Okay,
both of
this
them.
is a hint. This is
It's no.
It's neither of them.
It's it's
Well, I think
Windows.
he's just showing that, like, also on a broader sense, like kind of what I was referring to before, where it's sort of like, we're pack animals and all that stuff. We find comforts and security in each other. But at that last scene, it's like, well, one of them is most definitely the thing, and now,
Man is the warmest place to hide.
well, now the man, now there's one man left,
Yeah.
and he's all alone.
I mean, in all honesty, like all the things were all the different types of fears that are present in that. The only one that really strikes me, spiders like give me like a jump scare, but I'm like, you're dead. My shoe, meet the spider. But like the
Well, what
number
if it's a really
But
big
there are
fucking
some people who have
spider?
arachnophobia.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
But I think the big one that gets to me, if we want to share round robin of like what fear of the thing works on us the most, it's there is no help coming.
Yeah.
Like all the ways to get out, destroyed.
Like this is
Any
it.
way to get in, gone. Like this is it. You're done. Like what I loved about it, it did what Alien did in space so no one could hear you scream.
Yeah.
On Earth. It
Yeah.
brought the evil to Earth. So
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah. And the closest
Ugh.
thing that was to you just got destroyed.
yeah.
Because
Which I love.
they potentially could have a chance if potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John
me,
Carpenter
it's-
actually used Alien as an example of how he didn't want his monster to look. He was like, I
Oh.
love Alien.
Yeah.
And I love the feeling. He's like, but at the end of the day, that's a man in a suit. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah.
Fair.
Very important.
To me,
Shout out to Geiger.
to
Yep.
me, it's the loss of control.
Loss of control. So like you don't control your own body no more.
Right. Or
No,
the
Mo?
situation. Because you're like, we're adults, we're professionals. We should be able to gain control of the situation. But now something has come that's so messed up, it's so alien and so foreign and so
Yeah.
chaotic that there's no hope.
I mean, when you're taken over by when you're assimilated, you dead.
Yeah.
Like you dead. It
You're-
takes over
you're
your
gone.
consciousness.
You've
Like
been
you're
gone.
done.
Then that's
Yeah.
destruction
you're
of
absorbed.
the individual. That's like his
Yeah.
main theme. And McCree talks about it. He's like,
But you're still alive. That's the thing, is your body is
I
still
know
alive,
I'm
but you're
still me.
yeah, I know I'm still me.
Interesting.
That's what McCready says. He's like, I know I'm human.
And then he's like, and if you guys were too, you guys will all kill me. So there
Yes,
has to
there must be
somebody-
humans. Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
So wait,
That's his chest brain.
Yeah. So wait, Caitlin, what's one scare that like worked on you the most? Was it the gore, the arachnophobia?
Actually, neither of those. It was Blair in the shack. His calmness. Being calm makes me so unsettled.
I'm much better now. I'd like to come
Let me
in.
go and write that
I'm not
down.
gonna
real
hurt
quick.
anybody.
And like that the Blair
What do
in
you
the
mean?
shack and Childs and McCready at the end.
Yeah.
Where it's like basically the feeling of I've already won and you don't know how.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
That's
so it's almost
that's
like
my
the
scare.
unknowing. It's like they know, but I don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
That's cool.
That scares the shit out of me.
Josh, baby.
Josh,
See, I did-
baby.
See, I did
Josh,
the other way
baby.
around. Delicious Josh.
I think maybe it might be related to that. It's the unknowing. Of course, you can develop tests to try to figure out who's the thing, but the thing, I feel like this
Is it a
creature is incredibly smart.
Yeah.
Too. It's figured out. It's like some say that it's still possible that McCready could be it because it has assimilated the knowledge of humans.
Yeah.
And it's able to kind of like, that's fucked up, man. I mean, it's just like you're like, okay, we got this test, but what if, like, I don't know. It's that you think you know.
Yeah.
But
you never really know.
You
Well, and
never really know.
That's following the thing of that, like Carpenter didn't want there to be a pattern that you could recognize.
Yeah.
So the whole time you're like, okay, we're picking up a pattern, but are we actually picking up a pattern? Because this thing has also assimilated other alien life forms. Like, what
also,
if it's...
remember, McCready lost the chess game.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then, did he?
Yeah.
Or did he win by destroying the computer?
Right. Yeah. See. But like, yeah, I know exactly. Like, it's that like, there isn't really like they wrote an ending with where they explained who it was, and when it got to the day, they were like, "All right, John, time to shoot it." And he's like, "I'm not shooting that."
And then and John has said that,
and they never put it in.
Oh, John, we're so
or they
catching.
shot it, and he was like, in editing, they're like, "Should we put it in for this test audience?" He's like, "Never put that on my film ever."
Wow.
But John has said like there is the thing amongst us two, but he has not said. I don't think he ever will.
No, he never will.
He's gonna die.
And
like
of course,
peacefully and say Rosebud, and then just
of course, Kurt Russell and Keith David have both been like, "It ain't me." But
Oh,
but that's what
one
the
of
thing
them.
says.
Yeah,
that's so much worse.
exactly.
Is there a fear that works upon you the most?
It is that like
The spiders?
yeah, it's spiders. No, for me, like
Dogs.
I'm a very like I have like my friends are my family kind of thing, and I trust them a lot, and like that scares me, like being like I can't trust you anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can't trust any of you. Tom doesn't have that, but
Trust makes you weak.
but for me, like I when I make big decisions, I confide in friends and I talk through and and I wouldn't be able to do any of that. So that like paranoia really gets to me. Like it makes my skin crawl.
I also do have a fear
Wow.
that if I get assimilated, I will just leave my dirty drawers in someone's garbage.
Yeah.
What?
In the kitchen.
Why is that a problem?
That happens.
That happens in the movie.
People's just dirty underwear just
He
shows
leaves-
up.
Long Johns just show up in the kitchen.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a thing that you'd done drunkenly at a party or something.
Possibly.
Probably.
Not
Yes.
yet. Not
Not
yet.
But yeah, for me,
Next time.
it's the paranoia because that would drive me fucking crazy,
Ugh.
like insane.
But with friends,
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
It's McCready.
McCready.
All
Who's
day.
your who's your favorite side character?
Favorite side character is
Knowles.
either Childs or Knowles.
I was gonna say, do you like Windows?
I love Windows.
I forgot
Actually,
you
I do
really
love
like
Windows.
Windows a
Yeah,
lot.
okay, I'll say Windows. It's
'Cause
either Child or Windows. Windows is great. When he just goes to grab a shotgun, he's like, "Fuck this! I'm getting a shotgun. I'm done."
And then Windows and Mac, Creedy work together. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay. It reminds me of Radar from MASH, and I like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Aw.
McCready, he's the fucking dope dude. So I mean, obviously,
He was written that way.
But I really like Childs too.
He's written as like the badass hero.
But
That's true.
I like get me out of this damn shit.
Gary.
Yeah, Gary.
I do like. He has that really nice moment where he's like, "But if none of you
Trust
think I
me.
should be in charge, then I won't be." And I was
Yeah.
like, "That's good leadership.
Yeah.
That's really good
For some
leadership."
reason, I imagine
I
him-
see why they put you in charge.
For some reason, I imagine him. He just show up on an episode of Matlock or something like that. I'm like, oh, he's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't want him to die.
Oh,
So.
he's so nice.
It's probably got my favorite line in the movie.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm just gonna say an asterisk. It's probably always gonna be McCready. But if I had to pick I'm just gonna pick a side character. I love Palmer. He just cracks
Palmer.
me up.
Yeah.
Thanks for thinking about it, though.
Yeah.
Oh my
he's just-
God.
The other pilot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's so sarcastic and whatnot. I love it.
Yeah.
And like second would be Clark. I love the dog guy. I'm sad that he kind of loses
Oh,
it.
Oh no,
but
Clark.
I was
dies.
like, he needs to die real quick.
No.
I saw him. I was like,
He tried to kill McCready.
he did.
Well,
There's only 2 bearded men that could
dogs
live,
though.
or one
Right,
bearded man
yeah.
that could live.
McCready didn't do anything to the dogs.
I know. But
Caitlin,
I do like McCready because of course I like McCready.
is everyone say McCready?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I
Let's
think
do
so.
side character then.
Okay.
I don't know if this counts, but
The dog.
the dog.
yeah, that counts.
But
Well,
I have a
the
fun
thing.
story about the dog. Remind me later. About the actor.
I
Yeah.
will.
So wait, so you like the thing?
Yeah.
I like the thing.
Yeah. That's
Which
fair.
form? The dog form?
Yeah, specifically the dog form.
My favorite thing
I was gonna
form
say
is
the movie,
the
but
cuddly
yes. Yeah, dog.
Ollie Oxen.
Mine is also Palmer. 'Cause
Oh.
He's just
Hilarious.
hilarious
I just
and
love when
funny.
he puts the
and-
lighter and he like flips him off with the lighter.
And he's got
Makes me
the
laugh.
giant blunt.
Yeah.
And then Charles just like puts his hand out. It's like, give me that
Yep,
shit.
yep.
It's like, yep, that's how it would be.
Sharing is caring.
There's also that there's that line where he's got where someone's like, it's too early for people to go crazy, and they were like, well, look at Palmer. He's been like this since the day we got here. It's totally possible.
I'd really do. I mean, all of the characters have something to like. I think there is that what you were talking about, Ollie. There is this I can't think of the word. It's a good word. Chemistry. Like we mentioned it
sure.
earlier,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like
So
all the
explain what it
characters
is
have
first.
all the characters have something to add to the scenario, and they have
Well,
to be
it's-
able to get along and get.
Yeah,
They're in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere.
it's not like a teeny bopper slasher film where they're like 5 kids that don't know each other.
I have not
That
heard
get-
the word teeny bopper.
You've
in
never
such a
heard
long- in a long
Really?
time.
Oh, I was
Since I
gonna
was
say.
called one, like when I was 11.
Where I'm like, it's like these characters are
Teeny
fake.
bopper.
They don't care about each other, whatever. But like in the thing,
Yeah.
it's like these are like there's a lot of history that you learn very quickly between them.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing too, by observation, is kind of like with McCready being in his own shack, like
Yeah.
he's isolated from them. Yeah, everyone has their own like relationship with each other, but then they all see McCready differently. And the thing is that Palmer, he's like a pilot too, but why doesn't he have his own shack?
Yeah.
He shares it with Childs. And so there is like a lot of inferred, like there's a dynamic between each person.
Mm.
But then McCready doesn't have to share that same camaraderie.
Yeah.
And then
He's
it's,
that, like,
inferred that like
little bit of a
Clark
loner.
as well is kind of a loner and shares more in common with the animals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there are things like those where it's
Clark.
like you don't have to show one frame instead of like, I'm the kennel keeper and I prefer animals. Like, oh, shut the.
You just see him
Yeah.
as soon as he sees that first dog, and
Yeah.
he's like petting him. He's like, "You okay?" Someone got shot, and he's concerned about
He's
the
scared
dog.
of the dog.
That
I like
would
the
be
aspect-
me.
Sorry.
Sorry. That's
Sorry.
all.
See how
Sorry.
long we
I'm
can do.
sorry.
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 I like the aspect of like 10 angry men,
Mm.
or like it made
Hateful
me think
Eight?
of
Yeah.
like Hateful Eight, of course, but like 10 Little Indians, which Hateful Eight is kind of. Anyway, I just
Is it
I
Indians
just
or
really
indigenous
love the.
people.
And little indigenous people.
And all of them were men.
Yeah. So anyway,
Just like him.
Yeah. Does that get us to Tom's favorite part?
To Qualms.
Qualms.
DJ
the
Qualms.
gripes,
about,
Dr. Gripes.
Make this outpost on fire. Too late. Qualms. Do we dare say qualms?
Yeah.
I don't like how they
I
killed the
hated
dog.
This movie's face.
I don't like that.
I.
It's in the book, I think. They
this
had
is
to.
To
Well,
me-
I don't like how they did that in the book either. Then,
Talk
this
to the
is
guy
to
who
me-
wrote it in 1936.
hey guy,
In 1936.
I don't like how you killed that dog that one time in that book.
when when history repeats itself
When
and
it
you
re-
find this.
Yeah, when you find this, don't kill that dog.
Yeah.
You know what
All
you
right.
should do?
Yeah.
You should make an organization that's there to protect animal rights, and then it's you can use an acronym like PETA or some shit. I don't know.
Actually,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
kill
yeah.
more animals than anyone. But
yeah, but they're the ones that just get pissy about
Yeah.
art.
I bet they
That's
got
fair.
pissy about the dog being squirted with whatever
course
was being
they did.
squirted.
But it was probably those were all probably fake dogs too.
No, the one that
No.
was like actually
Oh.
alive.
It was probably Jello. It was probably Num Nums. You have to think of the happy things.
But he really looked like he didn't want to be sprayed by it.
that's fair.
That's fair.
Probably
yeah.
cold Num Nums.
I was not a big fan of that either.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
if I'm pulling, if I'm reaching for something that
No dogs
I
were
didn't
harmed in the
like,
making of this film.
It's kind of actually a similar qualm I have with Tombstone.
Mhm.
Is that they don't have subtitles when the Norwegians are talking.
Hmm.
And I just wish.
Well,
and then you're not
because-
supposed to know.
You're not so-
And then
yeah.
I'm
Because
like,
it would spoil the whole movie.
if he said something like,
No, they would have said like,
Because I think
No,
at
don't.
one point he's yelling at him like it's an alien, or something.
or would he
like
would
that.
say like, I need the dog, give me the dog, like dumb shit.
But he doesn't
like,
want the dog. He wants to kill it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't
Well,
say, "Give me the dog."
and-
He'd be like, "Get away from it."
And the reason
But we're
they-
inferring what he could have said.
but it would
He could've
ruin
said
it.
anything
It doesn't
else.
matter if it's ruined for them because the crew that we know, the American crew, would be
Don't
like,
know shit.
"What the fuck is he
They're
talking
supposed to
about?"
be
It doesn't
along for the
matter. But
ride.
us as the audience, it would be ruined for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
It would actually be comedic then, right? Because then we would know and then they don't.
They wouldn't know.
That's
Yeah.
that's how that works.
But
when
that's
we have more
that's the
information
drama of this movie and the
Drama.
unfolding.
Drama.
The drama is we even
Shout
as
out to
the
Grandma.
audience
We find out
are
with
left
them.
questioning.
Yeah, we're with them.
Of like
we're part of the outpost.
Yeah. So we are even part of the
He
story.
did say it was a reach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did say.
So you don't have to
are.
shit on my qualms, Josh.
They're saying that you might.
We're
be
just
the thing.
we have a
fine.
counterpoint is all.
No, I'm
Counterpoint,
just kidding.
counterpoint.
know
I thought
that-
we were having a
I
discussion.
know that gets on your nerves
Yeah.
all the time, Phil. And I'm like, okay, Josh, you want to do this? Well, it's your qualm. But no, I mean, you could have had him say anything.
Yeah.
Say, don't go near the dog. Then we're like, oh, what the fuck's wrong with the dog? Could have been like,
It's too cute.
I'm gonna kill all of you if you don't give me the dog. Anything. And then like, if that's one thing,
Screaming the
but
only
in
English
that,
words they
I
do.
would've
Dog,
said-
no dog.
I would have
no.
said that would have only worked
dog,
if
go.
they were speaking English.
Yeah.
Because I don't think if them speaking Norwegian, unless the characters knew Norwegian, I think it was better for them to think that maybe it's just some crazy guy that like, what's he babbling about? Like, we don't know.
well, I
you know?
guess we could skip qualms then.
Oh my God. No, we're
The
just discussing.
one time.
discussion.
Oh yeah. Because there really isn't any from me.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I'm like, I don't think anyone else is gonna have
Mark the
any.
date. It's
Yeah.
October 15th.
No, they will.
2018. No.
I didn't have any for Night Before
I
Who's
Christmas.
next?
I don't have any qualms. They'd be qualms in terms of the dogs because I'm such a dog lover that it's like,
Mhm,
oh man. But like, it's
Part of-
that's pulling. It's like,
yeah.
I don't have any qualms. I mean, I've watched it a few times in the past few weeks and I'm like, yep, I really like the movie.
the first time I remember being a little frustrated with not being able to keep track of where characters have been
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
like certain things
So your own mental
that
map.
bothered. Yeah, my own mental map of it.
But then when you watch
Well,
it
I
a
would
few more
just- I would
times,
just say that you should-
you're able to follow.
I knew
where they
exactly
I would just
where-
say that
yeah.
you take a piece of paper and you write it then.
are.
And I would say with the dog thing, I'm kidding.
Tom.
So we can discuss things, but if it's towards him,
Then we can't.
then
We
we
can't,
can't.
we can't.
When I say
cool.
I'm reaching, I'm like, okay, well, never mind.
And then the other
You can
one,
question
and I
ours,
know
but we
it's-
can't question yours.
I know it's nitpicky, but like,
Nitpick
him,
away.
him like building that spaceship underground.
Oh yeah.
We had like
Oh,
an
wait.
hour-long
we
conversation
talked about this.
And wasn't
like,
it mainly about
Oh
the
my
fact that
God,
there was
yes.
a human desk was down
There's a
there,
human
and you're like,
desk
why
and,
would you
like,
use a desk?
if it wasn't, well, I don't like. That's the thing where it's like you're not supposed to know to what degree he got assimilated or whatever. But then the time frame didn't seem like something like that would be possible for a human to do. But anyways,
Maybe
but that's
he
just
had-
like a small
Yeah.
thing that
Well-
ultimately doesn't matter. And it's just there to show you that like, oh, this is okay.
But
So
I did
he
love
was the thing.
conversation that we had about that. We
Yeah.
were like, well, what if?
I was like, who helped him bring down the desk?
Well, he's
Well-
super strong.
well, the thing
even
is-
though he's in the
also,
human
again,
body.
I think
and
this is-
it's connected downstairs where
You
there's
would have had to
piles
assemble
of
the desk
desks.
down there.
I forget when we
No, there's piles of them down there.
I forget
Piles
when we,
of desks
yeah.
and chairs.
when we
Yeah.
mentioned
He
this.
just
but
grabbed
this
one and
is-
was like, "I'm an alien. I'm super strong."
This
Boom.
is the we're gonna draw the line there
yeah.
sequence of like, well, Superman doesn't do
suspension of
that power. It's
disbelief.
like,
Oh, there's a mouse doing ballet, but I don't think it could jump that high.
like we're gonna get one of those like, okay, this thing could become anything, and we're gonna be, I don't know, I don't think it
Yeah.
could work that fast. It's not that efficient. I've seen its workflow. And there was no chair.
It was
you
a
know?
real slacker
Most
when
of
I
the time,
worked
it
with
doesn't even know
We're
what
gonna
it
have
is
to fire
that it is itself.
I think it
and then-
always knows what it is. It always
Yeah.
knows it needs to survive.
Super intelligent.
Yeah. But
Caitlin,
I would
Grim
just say,
clams.
I don't know what to qualm about. I don't know what to qualm
Do you
about.
even qualm, bro?
I don't, man. I don't qualm because I normally like the movie.
well,
Yeah.
Well, I
I-
mean, it's okay to like you can watch something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna blow your mind right now. You can watch something
Uh huh. Mm-hmm.
and like it
Yeah.
and not have qualms. I know that I'm breaking the mold right now.
Oh my
I'm
God.
Trunk out of the house. Get it out of here.
Oh, okay.
Lee.
That is radical.
I just can't really think of anything.
No, I
In the
think
same.
if I'm to guess, I think it's that she didn't really like the movie, but she doesn't know specifically like
Why? Yeah.
like qualms, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I can pick apart so far as like how it was executed or like I like the music. I like how the characters were developed. I can't think of any reason why I would be like, well, that sucked. Like, other than horror is just not my genre.
Yeah.
I will say there's also like this is kind of a dumb qualm, I think, because it's kind of like it's part of the time frame, and to me it actually makes it funny when it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be funny. Is the assimilation demo
Yeah.
Oh,
when you see the cells
the
doing
computer
the thing,
screen.
but
that's
then
like,
this computer
Yeah.
screen is super dramatic. It's
very
like in
dramatic.
72 hours, dot dot dot. I'm like, bitch, who taught you how to be like
What
this?
program
Who
figured this
programmed
all
you to
out?
be so fucking dramatic? But
No, what program figured that out?
whatever.
'Cause
It's
completely new.
Minesweeper. No one knows how to use it. Okay.
It's a simulation.
It's Minesweeper.
2.0.
It's
1.2.
Plague Inc., the game on
Yeah,
iOS,
yeah.
but before it was on iOS.
It's a scientific research
a couple-
facility. They might have something studying cells. They had microscopes and shit like
Yeah.
that. So
I
maybe
think-
like, and it may be they may be studying infections and stuff like that,
Maybe,
in the
yeah.
cold and stuff.
Sure,
so
sure.
The only way, and I was gonna say that, how would you change your thing? How would
Yeah.
you change your dog thing? But the only way you would change my thing with the computer thing is if Blair said it out loud, which makes it just as bad.
Yeah.
Because if he's like, "Oh, it was my God, what's
I mean,
gonna
if my
happen?" Like,
math
"Oh,
is
shut
right,
up."
it'll.
It would have been like exposition me.
I would have made it a cave that he somehow like he found his way out, and then he's building it in a cave like with scraps, and there's no desk.
So they follow the tunnel even
No
more.
that's
desk.
what he's doing though. He's building with scraps. He just brought it.
Yeah, but just it was just
He
the
built a
surroundings.
cave.
But
But
I don't
could
think that
he
he
just
looked at me.
He built the cave. He
Desk-
did.
with such
desk
like.
care.
He dug it, and you can see he dug it down into the generator
Yeah,
room
yeah.
too.
To be fair, couldn't he detach parts of his body and build more of himself too?
I don't
know.
think that's
I don't think
how
he can
that works.
detach parts. Of
No?
itself.
Because
I think
those
it's still
different things would
one
be different
creature, and then it
things.
takes over.
It's like
or,
a lizard's tail. Like if it gets pulled
Pulled
off, yeah.
Okay.
Piccolo.
And then it's just dead.
I think the other small thing that I had with it, and one of the reasons I don't love
Or sorry, starfish would be more like it
Horror.
because it can just grow. from there.
horror
Ugh.
films,
Yep.
is it wasn't devoid of like horror tropes of like characters doing stupid things and characters making weird decisions. Like for me, Windows leaving him in the storage room to go tell people or whatever and come back only to find him missing. Like I don't feel like he would have done that. I feel like he would have grabbed something to kill it immediately, or
I mean, he's a wuss throughout the whole
yelled.
thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like those were the things where I was like, okay, like
Where there
I've
you have
seen
like
this
Saving Private
happen.
Ryan, and then some guy who's in a war gets killed by letting the guy shoot him. Things like I think
Yeah.
those kind of things. Like
Just-
to
I
me,
mean,
that's a character
and
fault.
that's right, and that's not necessarily like something that I would knock it for. It's just one
Yeah.
of those things that you
If you're
notice
digging,
that I noticed. That if I'm digging, I'm like, okay, that's something that like, you're watching a movie, you're immersed, but then every now and again you get pulled out for like
well,
these
then you
little
could
things
say
here and there.
that he might have gotten assimilated with the thing if he stayed in the room.
Windows.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you mean?
If he stayed there and tried to kill it, he could have just gotten killed by himself.
But that would have been a character flaw that I would accept though, because his first
but like
response would be
he's
to try to kill
always
it.
been a wuss. Even when Blair
That's true.
attacks, he freezes and just kind of goes into the fetal position.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
true.
So I feel like it would be out of
Or
character
like
for him to
close the
attack.
door or something. Like
So he can get out the
a
window.
couple-
Where
It's still left
Well,
out the window.
that would have been okay because
It did.
like, but
did
the
leave
door
out
was
the
open.
window.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
that?
but it went
Oh,
out the window.
Well, whatever. Just the character doing it would have been like, okay,
Yeah.
at least he thought to do it.
Right. Fair enough.
At
Well,
least he did something.
So for Ollie's Outpost 31, please close the door behind you.
Yes.
And
Them's
if
the
you
rules.
could turn off the lights,
Them's the
that'd be
rules.
great.
Them's the
Yeah.
rules.
Also fun fact I think of the movie that the people actually on Outpost 31 watch this movie every first day of winter.
Yeah.
Nice.
Whatever the real equivalent to 31 is. But
yeah. No, I think it's literally
is it?
called Outpost
They
31.
watch this, the original, the prequel, and one other movie I forget. But
Boogie Nights.
yeah, that's it.
That makes complete sense.
That's it.
Are we cool with the qualms?
You don't want to know my
go-
qualms?
You don't have
No.
any.
Okay.
What are they, Corey? What
I
calls
was like,
do
if
you
I didn't have any, no one was gonna have
It's
any.
too short.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Wow.
No, it's just the right amount of length.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect.
It feels real good.
I would have
No, I don't
loved
have problems.
a 20-minute sequence inside the alien vessel
Yeah.
where he like
Built the desk
Puts his-
and built.
no, he goes in there. They're like, there's a room that's just dedicated to like
Desks.
crafts making,
Oh.
like a carpentry.
No, you know
You're
what'd be
like,
great?
oh my god, they're master desk makers.
You know what'd
We better watch out for this.
It'd be no.
Let them assimilate. We'll make a fortune.
Here comes IKEA.
Yeah.
Oh
Great.
no.
It'd be
Swedish.
That's the real truth.
No, they're Norwegians.
They're Norwegians.
But it'd be cool if it was like all
Matt
like
keeps calling them Swedes.
biomechanical monstrous things. And there's like a fucking like kitty art table. It's like holy shit.
This is called the Fleur.
God damn.
I'm actually a little bit terrified to go to that giant IKEA now. in
It's supposed to
Burbank.
be the world's
guy
largest.
just turns
Yeah,
to you
does
and
that
you're
mean
like-
it's the largest infestation? Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking so.
You
I
go
was
up
there
and you're like,
yesterday. It's
excuse me, I need help
perfectly
finding a
normal.
desk. And he's like, a desk. It's right over here, the flu.
There's probably flamethrowers there, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Caitlin, it was perfectly fun. There's nothing to worry
Don't
about.
you dare.
What's wrong, Caitlin?
It's not Fuchs.
Y'all, I will mess you up.
I'm feeling much better now.
The moment
Caitlin.
the moment you touch us, you're
It
assuming.
ain't Fuchs.
It
It ain't Fuchs.
So that moves on
Keep an
to
eye on Clark.
to
I love Clark.
rate.
Rating.
Rate. So 1 out of 5. Corey and I don't have any votes on us, so we go first. I'll go because this is your movie. Mine's 5.
Yeah.
This is a horror, sci-fi, whodunit, scary mystery thing, and I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. And that's why I'm like, if I'm not gonna have any qualms, no one's gonna have any qualms.
Yeah.
But Ali has to have problems with tables for some reasons. That's why we don't have one in the middle of the room.
Desk.
Desk.
Minus
Desk.
0.1 for every
Desks.
desk in that movie. For every
What about the
goddamn
pile of them?
desk.
It's not
Well,
gonna be
you
much.
best freeze.
Additional
It's not gonna be
pile-ups.
much, Corey.
Freeze frame and count every damn one.
-3.
But no, yeah, I love this and I wouldn't change it. And there's a lot of good things that I think current filmmakers need to learn from this.
Mhm.
I think this should be in the like filmmakers handbook of like just a good, well-written horror film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Corey.
5, obviously. 5.
Wow, I'm so shocked by this new
5.5
information.
if I can do it. For me, this is in my eyes, to me, a perfect film. It's got great talent, great writing, great directing. Like I said, the practical effects to this day amaze me more than anything I've seen in film. The score is phenomenal. Like the score guides you through this film so beautifully, exactly how you should be feeling, the right themes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, perfect film.
Yeah,
Didn't you say that about Fellowship of the Ring?
I did.
So which one's better?
They're different.
Okay.
You can't compare those.
This is my favorite horror film of all time.
Perfect but different.
Yeah, perfectly different.
Interesting.
So
Perfectly
yeah, a 5. I don't think there's a single thing down to minute details that I would change about this film.
More mullets.
Just one.
Josh has 2. You have 2.
Caitlin's
Ollie.
next.
Caitlin has 1.
So
I guessed wrong.
I have 2 scores.
Again,
Again,
All
I
right.
have the one that I wrote down in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
which is,
4.6,
Okay.
and your second one is.
4.9.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So average them out.
Well,
4.75.
I feel like
What
the
changed?
one. Well, there are 2 different scores for 2 different reasons.
Okay.
One, I always rate things off of like, was I entertained when I watched this? And
Are you not entertained?
I mean, I was, but it's just not my cup of tea, which is why I was like 4.6. This isn't something I feel like I'm going to go back and watch over and over again. It's something I'll watch once and be
Yeah.
like, oh, that was good. That was like that
Is
was
the
a good movie.
4.9 like out of horror films?
Out of like
Horror.
horror. Well, the execution, like the
Right.
music is good. The characters are really well developed. The special
Practical
effects,
effects.
or the practical effects
There
are
are special
like
effects at the time. That was
special
what special
practical
effects were.
effects.
Fire's technical. terms.
Like everything is really well executed. But the only again the qualm of like not being able to
Desks.
mental map it out of like where things were all the time is what takes off the like 0.1.
Yeah.
Just because if I couldn't understand all of that the first go, then obviously something's missing.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's why they have that one shot from one side of the station all the way to the other. It's supposed to be your guide throughout the whole film.
right, but I have a hard time keeping track of that
enough.
sometimes.
It would
So-
be interesting to maybe not slow the movie down, but just pause. And maybe
Well,
go,
it's not just
"Okay, this is what
necessarily.
happened."
It's like, oh, now I should have been following this person because now I know this about the thing
Mhm.
that I can do this now that I didn't know before. So that's
like Fight
part of
Club.
it.
It's like Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's not just their physical locations. It's their like, oh, like what I should have been paying attention to. Or whatever.
If Fight Club does that, Fight Club is a movie it's meant to watch.
Like the
Multiple
rules to
times.
me weren't set up like immediately right at the gate and then explored.
Mhm.
They were like given to you in doses.
Got it.
yeah.
Is how I felt.
But yeah, so execution wise, 4.9. Personal entertainment value, 4.6.
Or 6, sorry, yeah.
So 4.75.
I mean,
Something like that.
I would say base it off of the number you write down originally.
Right? 4.6.
But because I mean, ratings are personal anyway, so it's not like it has any
I dig
bearing.
it.
So Josh and Ollie.
Who's first?
Alphabetical. Go.
Wow.
That was
he
so
established
quick.
dominance, so
That was quick.
Pull
That was
in the
quick.
alphabet
That was before I even had time to think. Josh was just like, I'm not wearing hockey
Oh my
pads.
god!
Don't you put
Hockey pads
Baby
in your
in a
mouth?
corner.
Yeah. Okay.
Ugh,
Ollie?
gross.
My score is a very, very solid 4.5.
Wow.
It's on me. Yay.
And for me, it just didn't it was very enjoyable. It was very well crafted, but for me, it didn't hit. It wasn't ultimately greater than the sum of its parts.
I enjoyed the movie.
I adequately liked it.
It didn't build
I mean,
to me.
4.5
It didn't
still.
grab me in any way. Like the
I can grab you.
tension, I was observing the tension, but from a safe distance,
Got it.
and I didn't
I
feel
should have
like
put
I
you
was
closer
in
to
there.
the TV.
Yes.
Corey, no.
I had the closest seat.
You
I've
should have
seen it so
switched
many
seats.
times.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had the
Yeah, yeah.
closest seat.
Oh, yeah.
You should have said
I should have
next
been
to me.
VR'd in there.
There you go.
Jesus,
Oh,
all around me.
No.
Uh,
God, no.
but that's very, just because again, it's not in my horror.
Yeah.
The horror
It's not in
aspects
your
are not
wheelhouse.
my cup of tea. I don't love gore. I don't love seeing that stuff.
God, you
And-
guys keep
and-
saying
Get
gore. I'm
used
like,
to it
this
because
has
we're going to do
no
it
gore.
every year for Halloween.
Hooray.
Next year
Like, I
is
don't
the
know.
thing too.
Yep.
But
No,
I was
not
impressed.
the thing, just horror
Oh,
movies.
okay, got it. I
Josh
thought
was
you
like,
said
again?
the thing every
No.
year.
No,
I was
we're
like,
gonna do horror movies every Halloween.
I'm
Oh,
fine
that
with
makes
it.
sense.
I'm fine with
I
that.
thought I said we're gonna do the
I
thing
know,
every
okay.
year.
I'm fine with that because
What he had thought I said was no, I'm kidding. Go
my
ahead.
my library of horror movies needs to grow. Like my
Oh, I'll make you
palette.
grow, baby.
I'm
You
sure
need
you
Oh.
to- you need to
And
I
then
need
you'll
to
be able
become
to
enhance your
grow.
palette.
more cultured.
You'll grow and
Enhance my
show it.
palette of horror. Carefully curated by my
The Nerd On
co-hosts.
collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
out to Criterion.
Jajois.
Joshua.
Your
Joshua.
score, sir.
He's adding +3 onto his.
What I was gonna say is you need to watch if you want gore, if that's what you're looking for, you should look
Yeah.
up a
No.
French horror movie called High Tension.
Perfect.
Holy shit.
Or Everest.
Yeah.
Or Evil Dead.
Jesus Christ.
Everest?
Yeah.
The mountain climbing movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guy
pretty
breaks
hardcore.
his leg in the first 2 minutes. Anyway.
Ouch.
I
Stuck
realized
between two rocks.
via this conversation,
We could talk to
I
him.
wouldn't change anything,
Mhm.
not a single thing. And so
And that's
I am
why it's
giving
a
it a 5.
Woo!
So
Ali.
I
Ollie
wouldn't change a
smocks
single
and
thing.
free.
That's why I'm
The
giving
grump
it a
at
1.
4.5?
Yeah. Like I said, you could be a low end grump. So
Or a
here
high-end
is
grump,
Low
you
end
mean?
grump.
your crown that
Thank
we
you.
give to you that means nothing.
It is now eating my head
Yes.
because
Yep.
it was assimilated,
It was the crown was
I'm
assimilated.
sorry, Ali.
and now I'm
Still
fine. I
want
can
it to
come
be
in.
me.
No, he's fine. Do we want to gush?
I have a story about the dog real quick
Oh,
that I want
yeah,
to
yeah,
tell Caitlin.
Yeah.
So the actor who played Clark
Who played the dog?
obviously worked with that dog the most out of any of the cast.
Of course.
The dog was 3/4 wolf. And
A woof.
he became very good friends
Woof.
after this movie for many, many years after with the handler. They became like lifelong friends after this movie because they worked very close.
Of course.
But the wolf dog, while very well trained, was not used to being around a large group of people, which all he is in this movie is around a large group of people. And so he was like, it was interesting because like by the end of the film, I loved this dog so much. I would go visit him. We became very good friends.
Aw.
He's like, but at first, when he's giving me the rundown, he was like, you can't stare him in the eyes. Like if he gives you this look where he does it in the movie, the dog does it in the movie where he like stops walking and his head kind of lowers. And he was like, if he does that, stay still, let me know. I'll come get him. Like that kind of thing. And apparently when the dog was on set, it had to be a closed set, like a sex scene would be. Like,
Yeah.
like only the people needed are here, and we let the dog walk through. But he's like, by the end of it, I loved that dog as if it was one of my
Aw.
own. And but he was just a very little strange dog. I forget its
love
name.
the
It had a very
dog.
interesting name. But there's a wonderful, wonderful,
Fuchs.
wonderful documentary on YouTube you can watch for free about the making of this movie,
Yeah.
Huh.
and it's phenomenal. It's so cool.
Is
So,
the stuff about the woof in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I was gonna say, another fun fact:
Invested.
the actor that plays Clark, Richard Masur, his
Yeah.
beard is actually 3/4 wolf.
Yep.
Oh.
And that's why they got along.
Woof.
Yeah.
A woof. Woof.
I think we gushed a lot.
Well, I
but-
want to say something real quick.
Oh,
For
all
anyone-
the flamethrowers were real, by the way. They all got to use and train with real flamethrowers.
anyone at home.
Can I have one?
Anyone at home that hasn't watched it and graced us with your first impressions or hearing it from us, watch it. If you watch it for
If
the
you
first
dare.
time, but then if you watch it again, really pay attention to how they present the characters in the scenes. Some of my favorite parts are just the pan shots or the tracking shots that go from one end of the room to the other end and end on McCready. A lot of shots end on McCready, which is really, really fun. Because you like on your first viewing, you're really informed how to feel. And then when you see McCready, you're informed how you should really be feeling. And so it's a really
kind of
great
like
play.
happy, and then he's like,
Well, he's calculating the
looking.
entire time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, he plays that cowboy, wrangler, gunslinger, cool guy, but in the end, he's playing chess with this thing.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's so awesome, and that's why, like, I don't know, I don't find it scary, even though it's in the horror genre. It's just to me very like intellectually stimulating.
It's scary.
There's a few fun facts I can share real quick. John Carpenter has stated that this is his favorite movie out of all the movies he's made. There was the computer, the voice of the computer was his wife.
Oh.
Which I thought that was really interesting.
Shout out to Miss Carpenter.
Hey,
Mrs. Carpenter.
The set so the interior is all done on a set, with some exteriors that they built a year in advance and let it snow and like kind of cover it all and stuff
Wow.
like that. I forget exactly where, British Columbia, somewhere in British Columbia, for the outside. And then so the inside of the sets though in LA were about 40 degrees because they figured out you didn't have to have it 32 or whatever to get the breath, but they kept the sets cold and humid. So there was a lot of water in the air and they could get all real breaths. None of it was done in post or anything like that. But when they would go to lunch, it was one of the hottest summers LA had ever seen at about 100 to 104 every day.
Oh my God.
And they would leave the set in their Arctic clothing to walk to Crafty because it took so much time to undress and have to dress back up that they were only getting like 10-minute lunches,
Oh my
15-minute
God.
lunches. So that everyone would just walk across to Crafty where it was air conditioned again and hope that they survived.
Ugh.
But yeah, so there's a lot of, obviously I'm a huge fan of checking out the trivia on IMDb. I would encourage everyone to do so and check out that.
And I would encourage
documentary.
everyone to just every few moments just pause the film and look at the frame, because a lot of the great stuff is like how they color it and how they compose certain things.
Don't
So,
worry about enjoying the movie as a whole.
Yeah, the
Just
lighting in
pause it
this
every
was awesome.
about 5
Red and
seconds.
blues, baby.
Red and
Red and
blue.
blues are so beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for doing the thing.
"You're
It
welcome."
means a lot to me.
Oh,
We want to also thank all the listeners to hearing about the thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without you guys, we can't make this show possible.
Yep.
But tell us what your thoughts about the thing. Who was really the thing at the end? What's
we
your
never even
favorite
talked
form
about
of the
that.
monster?
We did not talk.
it was
about
Child's.
Yeah. That's my theory.
I do think
That's
it was
it.
Child's.
Yeah. Should I say it real quick? Why?
Just yeah.
Yeah.
But you may as well.
The theory behind it. What? Tom?
I mean, they had the comic book and they tell you.
What?
Oh,
so-
I haven't read it yet.
Is it
Just-
Child's?
Tell your story first.
Oh, well, my theory just beyond, we won't go into the comic books because I haven't got to read them yet.
Because this episode
promised
I
is
haven't got to read them yet.
based on
Oh, right,
Just the
right.
movie. So within this universe, not the comic books that were written 35 years later, the whole thing is that they replaced all the alcohol to make Molotov cocktails. So the theory is that he hands him a bottle filled with gasoline, and Child's being a thing and not knowing that it should be any different, kind of going through the movements like, I know they drink out of these. He takes a sip, and that's why McCready starts laughing at the end, because he's just like, fuck, man. I did all of this. And
And
he's
it's
the
still
thing.
not enough?
And in the original script, it said that McCready actually has a blowtorch under that blanket. And
Oh.
so that was taken out. But
Yeah.
interesting fact.
Thank you so much, everybody at home, for listening to us. We really do appreciate it. As Tom has said many times before, we get to do this because of the listeners, the patrons, all the peeps. But yeah, you can check out our website, nerdon.tv, like we've already said a million times.
You
Yeah.
can go and check out all the linky links.
They can also find us on Apple Podcasts. They can look at Spotify. They can basically, what does Corey always say? Where all podcasts can be found, can be heard.
Where all podcasts are heard.
Yep. It's
All
everywhere.
levels of podcasts are welcome here.
It's all there. But yeah, hit up that website, nerdon.tv. Everything is centralized there, all the linky links.
What are the linky links?
Linky links like social medias,
YouTube.
Instagram.
YouTubes, yeah.
We have
Twitter.
written reviews of things like manga, games, anime, movies,
Movies.
Destiny. We have our YouTube stuff there.
It's all there.
We route our
Twitch.
Twitch from there.
Con coverage.
We have con coverage.
You
Learn
can
more
check out
about us.
Shoptime there.
Trope Time.
Trope Time, our other show, once a month, first Monday of every month.
Yep.
It does hit, hosted by our, I'd say, fellow hosts,
Illustrious
Yeah.
writers.
Nikki and Izzy. Good stuff. But yeah, check them out. So once a month,
Yeah.
the
If you have
first
some
Monday.
time to listen about tropes.
But you know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.